For some, it came as a shock.
This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. Oh.
I think about the world and what they think about us, and it's really hard.
For others, it was a huge relief.
But I'm very happy we got back on track now.
Feminists are readying for battle after Donald Trump's landslide victory.
This is just the beginning of the resistance against this incoming presidency.
How do American women see the future of this divided country? It's the first weekend after the election. Activists have called for a protest in the capital, Washington, D.C., in support of women's rights. Trump's victory is shaping the agenda and the mood.
I learned earlier that we are expanding our message to be more than reproductive rights. Can you speak to what it is we're actually here to talk about today?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, Women's March always is very, very clear on reproductive justice and access to reproductive health care. But this is a big moment when we are all fighting against a lot of things. So our message is for reproductive rights, for our freedoms, and against fascism.
I think the big part is going to be how do we talk to people who feel left out. I think a lot of people feel like we're not seeing them, the Democratic Party is not seeing them, and that's why they went where fear and hate are more accepted.
The march makes its way towards the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank that has been influential in shaping Donald Trump's political platform.
All right behind this truck, into the street, folks. We're going to go over there, they're going to block it off, and we're going to take the street.
Organizers had hoped for 50,000 participants. In the end, there were only a few hundred, but that didn't detract from the mood. It's mostly women, of all ages and backgrounds, joining together to rekindle hope and courage after the shock of election night. On social media, many people are talking about emigrating, but these women refuse to give in.
I believe that we will win!
I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win!
Until the end, most Democrats had believed protecting abortion rights would motivate enough voters to give Kamala Harris the victory. But that didn't happen, not by a long shot.
We're regulating healthcare access, and I've been a nurse for 32 years. Women are the only ones who have their healthcare access and decisions being taken away from them.
Some people just would not vote for a black woman, and I think that we had a part of that, and that was difficult. I feel that people will become aware in the next couple of weeks the awful things that Trump is planning to do, and they will really start to petition, march, and show their honest feelings against this man.
These first days after Trump's victory have clearly been hard for many of the women who've come to the march.
How folks feeling? Y'all feeling a little frustrated? Feeling a little angry? Some folks might have a little bit of sadness, maybe a little bit of fear. But what we're here to say is, like the signs say, we've got us, all right?
Wakes them up to sing, we're in the early bride. They clap their hands and stamp their feet.
1,000 miles further south, in Boca Raton, Florida, the songs, mood, and messages are very different. It's Veterans Day, the holiday honoring former members of the U.S. Armed Forces.
Thank you for your service.
We're curious how women attending this event view the election result. U.S. military personnel tend to vote Republican, and Trump's rhetoric against the Democratic candidate has had an impact here.
Kamala Harris is unfit to lead. She's unfit to lead. She'll destroy our country. In a year, this country will be destroyed. A vote for Kamala is a vote for 4 more years of dishonesty, incompetence, weakness, and failure.
Sweetheart, who'd you vote for? But I voted for Donald Trump. I knew he would win big. I didn't think maybe that big, but I'm very happy. We got back on track now. My father fought in World War II for our freedom, and it was this close to being taken away with her.
I know things from listening to conservative television about Biden that I think that he is a crook. He has a very nice smile, but I do think he's a crook. And Kamala, I don't know what she is about and what she would do.
My food bills are astronomical, and right now I only have 1 child at home. And we are spending so much money at the grocery store. It is absolutely absurd. We're trying to figure out, should we just maybe bring in food, go out to dinner? Perhaps it's less money. We haven't really figured it out yet, but I know everyone I speak to, friends, family, acquaintances, just in the grocery store. I have a joke with my girlfriends. I said the next time I go to Publix, which is our main grocery store here, I think a banana is going to be $5. It just, every week, things just keep going up, and I would attribute that to the current presidency.
Well, you know, lots of politicians promise lots of things. I just hope and pray that we can heal from all the problems we have in our country right now. We have so many problems and so many divisions and so many people that really want to try to do bad things to us internally and externally. So I just hope that we can heal now. We can move forward and end the wars that are in this world and just be good people to each other again, which is what I've always known and what my husband has always known.
An increasing number of American women, no matter their age, race, or class, are convinced only Trump can solve their country's problems. Trump increased his overall share of votes among women by 3%. Among Hispanic women, the increase was even higher, at 8%. We head about an hour north. Melissa Martz lives on a small fruit and vegetable farm with her husband and son. Melissa has received a visit from her aunt, Liz Fulton. It's their first meeting since the presidential election. The two are close friends, despite their political differences.
What is it that made you vote for him? So obviously business and financial was important.
Business and financial. I didn't always like guns. I grew up in New York, so I used to think that only military and police should have guns. And then I came to Florida and I started shooting. And then when the government wanted to start taking away the guns, I started wondering, well, why? And then I wanted guns. So now I have lots of guns.
You know, I hear a lot of people say that they voted for him because the economy felt better under him, and they think that he'll do well for businesses, and he's a businessman. In fact, my own husband voted for him for that reason. But the reality is he actually put us in a huge amount of debt. He and Biden are on track to put us in like the most amount of debt from any president past. And so we had a great economy under him, I believe in part because he spent all this money, so we felt great. And then we've experienced over the last 4 years the results of that, not only a prior president who spent all that money, but then another president spending all this money, putting my child and my grandchildren into all kinds of debt.
Melissa and Liz may have different political views, but they agree it's best to measure politicians not by their character, but by their ability to get things done.
I think the country is going to overcome what happened. So there's no motivation to keep demonizing or elevating him. He's got the job. So they don't have to keep harping on getting Americans to feel emotionally one way or the other about him. it's done. His run is done.
When you're the monkey in the cage arguing with the other monkey, you're not thinking about who's locking the cage. So the focus, really needs to pivot to our government and our Constitution and to our neighbors, but instead they have us focused on pitting race against race, gender against gender, political view against political view. I have hope that that's going to change.
In a few days, it will be Thanksgiving, the U.S. holiday that revolves around visiting friends and family and sharing a meal. Will the election overshadow the celebrations?
There will be no fighting at...
Not at our house.
We definitely don't have to worry about Thanksgiving fighting. I think we're all pretty much on the same page in terms of maybe not how we wanted to get the Constitution restored, but we want it restored.
And as far as the general public, I think at this point, people that have cut ties over politics, they've already done that. They've already severed ties. So I don't think we will experience the division at our family Thanksgiving tables this year, because unfortunately, I think those ties have been cut, way before this election. So people have already kind of found, their tribe, so to speak. And I think people are finding solace and comfort in those tribes, which is good and bad,
In this corner of America, hope is stronger than fear, at least for now. Back at the Women's March in Washington, for many here, the Democratic defeat means it's more important than ever to continue their fight.
This is just the beginning of the resistance against this incoming presidency. That we are going to keep fighting, keep standing together, keep taking action, because we know we have a fight ahead of us for the next 4 years. But what we will do is build and get bigger and stronger so that in 2 years we are prepared to contend for power again. And then in 4 years there will be more of us and we will be prepared to contend for power again.
Fear mixed with determination. These protesters had hope for a different outcome of the elections, but they're not giving up their fight for a future without Trump.